Hello friends, my name is Michelle Fondin and I'm the author of, I'm going to say two of my books this time, Chakra Healing for Vibrant Energy, Exploring Your 7 Energy Centers with Mindfulness, Yoga, and Ayurveda, and Enlightened Medicine, Your Power to Get Well Now, an integrative approach to healing the 7 deadly lifestyle diseases. So a great way for you to support this channel is to purchase one of my books. And welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're going to continue this series on twin flames and the twin flame connection. When I started this series, I never imagined that it would go on for this long. I never ever thought. I thought I was going to make a few videos and then move on to the other topics that I'm interested in speaking about that really correspond more with my books. That being said, I am going to be writing a book on twin flames and the twin flame connection. So thanks to you viewers, I have received so many questions and so many requests for different subject typed videos that this one is 7 signs that union is near. Now, as you know, I let my angels and guides channel these messages to me and through my own experience, and also a lot of the experiences of the people around me who are twin flames and the twin flame community that helps to bring about the content of these videos. And I never plan anything. I have a little outline with the 7 steps just so I know. I know what I'm going to talk about a little bit. But that being said, I never plan out anything else in my videos, that it is all pure light and love. It's all channeled. And so here we go with the 7 signs that union is near. Number 1, there are increased synchronicities and coincidences that tend to happen with your divine masculine in most cases, or your divine feminine if you are divine masculine. So this generally is happening for the divine feminines, whether you're male or female, by the divine masculines or the two of you together. So increased synchronicities and increased coincidences. What does this mean? It means that coincidences that bring the two of you together are happening in increasing frequency. So you might bump into your twin flame. You might accidentally meet somebody who is related or affiliated to your twin flame. You might be at the right place at the right time with your twin flame, meaning that you never intended to be at a certain place, yet here they are. And that just happens increasingly. Or the coincidences, such as you meet someone with their exact first name and last name, and you're like, what? Even if they have a really unusual name. So the coincidences just keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming in increased value. And for me, it was a lot of bumping into my divine masculine twin flame unplanned, and when the probability was near 0% that I would actually bump into him. And so that's when I knew. I was like, okay, something's up here. Like, this makes no sense. Or I would think about him like a few seconds before, and then all of a sudden I would see him. And I understand that a lot of you are in long distance twin flame relationships, or different countries, different cities, across the country. But there may be different instances of maybe them popping up in your social media, or all of a sudden they're commenting on your posts on Instagram, or, there's like these weird coincidences that all of a sudden, like, there are things happening that you hadn't foreseen, you hadn't planned, just things that start happening again and again. Like I said, sometimes it's bizarre occurrences. Like I said, I gave the example of you meeting someone who was directly affiliated with your divine masculine in this case. You meet this person, they're like, oh yeah, I've known so-and-so for 20 years. Or, and you're like, what? Like, how did I meet you out of the clear blue? And my twin flame, but you would never say that to that person because they think you're crazy at this point, right? Number 2, increased vivid dreams about them, about your divine twin flame. So divine masculine or divine feminine. So I have experienced this a crazy number of times. And as you know, I keep a journal to my twin flame, and I always have kept a journal to my twin flame. This is just something that personally, it felt good for me to do. So you can as well keep a journal to your twin flame, and you know, you can let them read it, you can let them not read it, it could be personal, like however you conceive of it. But I think it's really important, especially if you are in separation with your twin flame. I believe it's really, really important to like write down your dreams about them, so that when you are having moments of doubt, which all of us have gone through, believe me, when you're having doubts about your twin flame and this connection, that you can go back and read your journal entries about those dreams, because typically twin flame dreams are very, very different from other dreams. A lot of times with twin flame dreaming, there's like lucid dreaming. It's a very specific message from your twin flame, like either verbal, mental, spiritual, a message of like touch, or a message of like words of wisdom, or an increasingness of intimacy with that twin flame. And your twin flame is typically embodied by the body of your twin flame, if that makes sense. Because you know, when you're having dreams, a lot of it is very surreal and abstract. And so you may be talking to someone knowing it's that person, but like physically they don't look like that person, or you never get to see them in a dream. So as you are nearing union, your dreams with your twin flame are going to actually increase. And then you know that in the dream, your twin flame is your twin flame, and they're going to look exactly like them. They're going to sound, their voice is going to sound exactly like them. Phrases that they're going to say to you are phrases that they would typically say to you. So there was a dream where my twin flame divine masculine came to me in a dream, and the conversation we were having in the dream was a typical, not necessarily a typical conversation, but a typical way that he would actually speak. So it wasn't like, it wasn't like imaginary things that he would never say in a billion years, which again, always happens in dreams, where it's always like your lover turns into Zac Efron and then he's speaking to you in poetry or something. So, and I always use Zac Efron as a reference because I actually do really like Zac Efron. As you increase in your lucid dreaming, the dreams become more vivid. You remember your dreams more. You remember exactly what your twin flame said to you in those dreams. So that is an indication that union is near. Number 3, increased signs of your twin flame. So we all have seen throughout this journey angel numbers like 444, 555, 777, 1111, 111. So most of us, I wouldn't say all of us, but most of us have been seeing angel signs. So we've been seeing like a lot of angel numbers. We've been seeing maybe license plates. That's another big one with angel numbers. Or we've seen their name in different locations and places. Their first name, typically, it's rare to see last name, although I have seen my divine masculine's last name everywhere, which is really weird. But you will see signs of your divine masculine, and it just might mean like something that really, really reminds you of this person. So whether it be the country they're from, the language they speak, a brand they typically wear, or a food they like, or a sports team that they're really like attracted to and they watch all the time. So you will see these increasing signs, and it'll keep coming to you. And it's going to be like explosive. So the signs will be just consistently coming to you day after day after day after day after day. And it's just going to keep happening. And what this is it's your angels and guides like affirmation that this is the right person, that this is your twin flame, this is a person you're supposed to be with. And it's just going to keep coming. And it doesn't really decrease. It just continually increases. Number 4, telepathic messages from your twin flame or about your twin flame. Sometimes if you're new to telepathic communication, it can be really difficult to decipher and know what is the voice in your head and what is the voice coming from your divine masculine or divine feminine. But you are going to have increases in these telepathic messages. Now, the fact that I am being and have been all along in close proximity to my divine masculine. I know, generally speaking, I have known when I have telepathic messages from him, and then in person he speaks those exact same messages, but in a different way a little bit, but the exact same message. And so for me, that has all along, that's been affirmation that we are communicating telepathically. Or it could be my thoughts. It could just be my thoughts that when in person, he is communicating back to me. So I know he's hearing messages from my brain, my head, my mind. So for me personally, that's been a constant affirmation. I know not all of you have those constant affirmations, especially if you're not in close proximity to your twin flame and you don't have constant communication with them. So since you don't have constant communication with them, it can be difficult to understand, like, what are the voices in my head? Meaning, like, what are my own thoughts, the stream of thoughts? I'm not saying you're like schizophrenic or anything. I'm just saying, what are my thoughts? And what are the messages from my twin flame as far as telepathy goes? So usually, I'm going to try to describe this to the best I can, because I also have the experience, and you may have this experience too, and know that it's not weird. I also have the experience of my twin flame's higher self that constantly talks to me, meaning he's constantly giving himself a voice in my space. And this happens with complete integration of divine masculine, divine feminine. And when your twin flame and you are actually in union as one, that you will hear your divine twin flame's voice from the higher self perspective. So I have had that, and I've had the joy of having that. And so, the difference is, I know the voice of my thoughts, my dreams, my wants, my desires, my doubts. I know that voice because it's been with me my whole life, right? So typically your own self-reflection voice is the same. The moods are the same, the words are similar, the conversation goes similarly. The self-talk that you give yourself is typically the same. It will grow and evolve as you grow and evolve, but you know your own voice. The voice of your divine masculine or feminine has a flavor that reflects them and their personality. It might be words that you don't use. It might be conversation styles that you don't use. It's going to reflect their personality and their personality style that you don't typically use. And it also comes as a flow of listening rather than a flow of thinking, if that makes sense. So typically, if I want to receive in my quiet moments or my meditation, if I have wanted to receive messages from my twin flame's higher self, I start with a meditation, and then I usually write down my divine masculine and myself's conversations in the fifth dimension. So it could be asking a question. It could be saying, what do you need to share with me or tell me right now? And so that's how the conversation flows. But the conversation flows as a flow of information without thinking. So when you think, you're in reflection mode, you're kind of pondering through thoughts and things, and telepathy and conversations with your divine twin flame's higher self comes as a stream or a flow that you don't need to think about, but that you're just channeling. So all of you have this. If you are a twin flame, you have this. All of you have it. It's just being in tune to it. It's being in tune to what your twin flame has to say to you, that they may not be saying in the 3D right now, but that in the 5D they really want to say. And there may not always be a congruence, meaning in time space, where what they're saying through the 5D is going to correspond to what they're going to say to you in the 3D just yet. It may be said soon, but it may not be just yet, if that makes sense to you. For me, my divine masculine's higher self has always been very chatty, like really conversational and very, very chatty. So it's been easy for me to receive messages from his higher self because his higher self talks all the time. So that is what is increasing in activity, the telepathy, the contact with your divine masculine or divine feminine's higher self, and being able to receive messages. Number 5, increased psychic abilities. All twin flames have an avenue to open up the faculties of psychic abilities. This happens to each and every one of you because in order to receive messages from the divine, we have to be a little bit psychic. Most of us have been trained in prayer. Most of us have been trained in rote memorization prayer, where we have memorized a set of prayers or scriptures or Quran verses or Bible quotes or something from the Torah. And so we have had the experience of rote memorization and then kind of spitting out prayers, or even if we're praying, we're usually talking and we're not listening. So the psychic abilities that are necessary are to be open to listening to the universe, to be able to be open to God's messages, and to be able to be open to communicating non-verbally with your divine masculine or your divine feminine. And so you'll notice an increase in like synchronicities, coincidences, not only with your twin flame, but with everybody else and everything else, where you can think something and it'll happen, or you receive messages of maybe don't go down this dark road, and then you don't go down the dark road and you later find out someone was murdered there or something. It doesn't have to be that drastic, but you start to listen to your own intuition better, and you start to have those deeper intuitive capabilities, again, that everybody has, but that not everyone is aware that they do have. So it was really, really funny that one day early on in my twin flame connection, my twin flame admitted to me that he was a little bit psychic, which I thought it was a little bit of a strange conversation, because I had been thinking that, like I had been thinking like, oh my God, he's going to think like I'm a total weirdo because I'm psychic, and he's going to think like I'm a freak. And it was really funny because I had been thinking that for a while, and all of a sudden he pops up and he tells me this, like, and I was like, really? Like, you're telling me this? And he is like the last person I would ever expect to say something like that. And then afterwards I was driving home and I thought, of course he is. We're one, like we are one soul. Of course he's psychic. Of course he is. Like, duh. Of course he's psychic. Number 6, increased adversity. This is God's test for you. This is God's test. As you are nearing union, not only are all those other signs present, but you're going to have increased adversity like crazy. What is increased adversity? Ex-boyfriends and girlfriends popping up for you and your divine masculine twin flame. Maybe videos popping up on YouTube that are going to derail you from believing that the twin flame connection is real. Naysayers, people talking about bad relationships, dysfunctional relationships. Maybe you have told people who do not understand this whole thing about twin flame connections, and most people will not understand for a while until most of us are in union. But they may have told you like, you're obsessed with this person, this is an unhealthy thing, this doesn't make sense, they're treating you poorly, they're ignoring you. So there's going to be a lot of adversity that's happening, and even a lot of self-doubt, doubt in yourself, doubt in your twin flame. There may be a lot of anger that's coming up, a lot of frustration. You've got to remember that for most of us, this is the death of the ego. And when I say that, I'm very trepidatious when I do say that, because what I believe is that the ego is an integral part of who you are. And that's something that I've always taught. I've been teaching meditation since 2009, and that's something that I have always preached, is that the ego is an integral part of who you are. It's like, who rules the roost though? Is it your spirit that rules the roost, or is it your ego that rules the roost? So when you have an ego that's integrated, it's your spirit that is ruling and not your ego. So you're cognizant and aware of when that ego has bad behavior. So when I say death of the ego, I'm just saying that your ego is not ruling the roost anymore. So because of that, there are increased adversities too, because your ego is like protesting. It's like, what? I thought I was top dog here. And you're like, no, not really, sorry. So there's going to be a lot of adversity coming at you from all angles. And this is just kind of like walking through the fire to the final step of your journey in order to reach a new beginning of your journey. Number 7, a sense of peace and surrender. A sense of peace and surrender. So it's a sense of peace and surrender to God. It's not like surrender like white flag, I give up. It's that sense of peace and surrender, and surrendering to your own divinity, surrendering to your twin flame's own divinity. It's not trying to push or force or cajole things into happening. It's allowing those things to happen and allowing you guys to come together, leaving that open space for love and compassion and forgiveness, and just allowing things to occur and to happen and to align and to line up according to divine plan and divine timing. It's when we resist something, when we create a blockage, when we create a wall, when we resist, that's when we feel that there's a lot more problems that occur. That's when we feel like union is so far away. But when you have this sense of peace and serenity, and it does come naturally, believe me, like this happened to me, you have this peace and serenity about you that you just trust that your divine twin flame is coming to you. Like, union is near, union is imminent, it is happening. When you do have this sense of peacefulness, surrender to your higher power, to God, that it's going to come. Like, you don't even have to worry about it. God is organizing this. God is orchestrating this. And as I mentioned before, there's nothing that you can do to keep your twin flame away from you. Now, you can prolong the process by being in ego consciousness and in ego-centeredness, but you're never going to prevent your twin flame from being in union with you. It's like in the 5D, you guys are already in union, which is the spiritual realm, right? So you're never going to stop the process. You guys are destined to be together. And so with that knowledge comes the peacefulness of just being. It's like, I'm just going to be. I don't need to fight this. I don't need to fight for this. I don't need to do anything really except live in the highest states that I can live in without resistance, living in love, peace, and surrender, and really just like embracing who my divine masculine or divine feminine are as people, and then embracing who I am as a person, even when you get frustrated. Like, embrace who you are as a person who gets frustrated. Embrace who you are as a person who is so anxious and happy and excited to be living with this person or married to this person. Like, enjoy all the flavors of humanity. Enjoy all the flavors of what it is like to be you, of what it is like to be human. And the sooner you're able to come to that place, and like I said, it happens naturally. It's not that you're going to try one day and be like, I'm going to try to make this happen. I'm going to try to live in peace. Because when you try, there's still resistance there. So you're just going to open up naturally to the peace and surrender that comes with the process and the journey of the twin flame connection. And before you know it, you're going to wake up and you're going to be in union in the 3D with your divine masculine or your divine feminine. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below, and click the bell for notifications. Share this video with other twin flames. Thank you for buying a book or 2 or 3 and pledging your support on Patreon. I really appreciate your love, your feedback, and your monetary support to help this channel to keep it going. And really, my books are fabulous reads. And if you believe the contrary, let me know. www.patreon.com/Michelle S. Fondin. And I will see you in the next video.